Rahubat, greetings and welcome to a reading of the Master's Secrets. This is called the Designer Genes because, as you may be aware of now, DNA and the different genes that make you up are very important to the point where you can actually isolate specific genes that give you certain abilities. 1. 1220 Para Samur Yakas Kawun Daf 1220. The designer gene is DAF 1220. 2. DAF 1220 is the mystery of primate brain expansion. 3. The Mathaltal'u extraterrestrials use it to make a kind of man in their own Shabbat image and like them, yet who would never mentally grow older than Pa Akal, the mind of a 13-year-old. 4. The smartest of the Kuradu simians only have Pa Akal, the mind of a 3 to 6-year-old. 5. The simian or monkeys have 48 chromosomes. That 48 chromosomes is equal to the planet project sector 24, or 24 plus 24 equals 48. 6. So 24 plus 24 equals 48 chromosomes of the simians grown on this Mecca planet who become the ape-man, chimpanzee and others. 7. It was to control Pardama, the brain, to make this new kind of Zazaz man a primitive worker, as chimpanzee can and do use tools. 8. Once the Mustathalu extraterrestrials mixed their own 48 chromosomes to match the new axis of Parmikab, the planet, 23 degrees, you had 23 plus 23 equal 46 chromosomes. 9. And the outcome of the simians, 48, and Pa Mukma'u, the Pleiadians, 46, with the Anunnakis, 47 chromosomes, was a savant person with the mind of all three and often undeveloped physical actions. 10. The mind of the simian, a 3 to 6-year-old, Pa Akal, the mind of the Pleiadian, a wicked, evil, Mustathalu extraterrestrial. 11. The result was Rasamur Yakas, designer gene, called now the DAF 1220. Now that they have knowledge of genomes, or Kenon, earth names, naming each of the Yakasat genes of the genome and the helix, naming things able to speak. 12. There is a misconception that the larger the brain, the higher the intelligence, which actually is incorrect. And here's a diagram of the various sizes of craniums. 13. The higher intelligence is dependent upon the increased number of neurons in the Dhamma brain. 14. For example, primates have more neurons than non-primates. 15. The DAF 1220 domain is made up of 65 amino acids and is located in a certain part of the first chromosome. 16. This encoding was found in most duplicated in 140 genes showing human lineage-specific HLS, gain or loss. And here's the diagram of the DAF 1220, showing the various species and the chromosomes. 17. Yet the number of changes in copy and most extreme were found to be due to sequences encoding DAF 1220. 18. There are many more copies of DAF 1220 encoded in the human genome compared to the genome of any other Sanath species. 19. Humans have approximately 270 copies, much more than great apes, who have between 90 to 125 copies. Monkeys have 25 to 40 copies, and especially prosimians and non-primate mammals. 20. Approximately 160 copies of DAF 1220 were added specifically to the human genome approximately 5 to 6 million years ago. 21. This expansion relates to an average of 28 copies added specifically to the human genome every million years since this time. 22. They, Katufua, programmed this new Salal race of a kind of man, an ape, to be Mu'abadu, slave workers. Wu-Nuwapu, entertainers. 23. So they, Rasuma, designed Yakhasat genes and created a servant or savant to serve them as mukhdamu, servants. Yet the actual minds of the males of the Muadamu Salal, Adamite race, never get older than a 13-year-old of other Salalu races. He must have toys, play games, have contests, experience danger, fight, or like a Karad child, act like adults. So he created a game, cinema, where they can act out being superheroes of all kinds. 24. The Rassam or Yakhas at designer genes today is seen and thought to be Ghayat at hobbies, Nabah at talents, Hazak at skills. 25. These were all Katufa programmed in the mixture from the savant part of the gene pool. 26. The results is you see people of all Salalu races who are obsessed with something. 27. Some are obsessed with Rasum, drawing, Rakus, dancing, Ghayanu, singing, Tabuk, cooking, Kayayut, sewing, Dahun, painting, Kafu, fighting, Katul, killing, Kadum, serving, Milab at, sporting games. 28. And so much more. Even Janus, sexing, or nymphomania results in many cases as whores and or prostitution, or girls who just go from fatay lache fatay, boy to boy, or zazaz lache zazaz, man to man, called boyfriends, and my lover. She is a sex slave to males in her Yakasat genes. 29. Or as the Kara'u simians form groups, Shabat at tribes, clans, gangs, military and police, all kinds of uniforms like Huanu, animals, and Dabatu, beasts. They prey on others, seek to control, abuse, use, confine others not under them or in their uniform. This is from the ape gene. 30. So you have people who naturally seem to know how to draw better than others, or Ghainu, sing, or Rakus, dance, or other skills, hobbies, talents. These were all programmed in the Adamites, who were made to be slave workers by extraterrestrial. They call their Gadad, God, by many Rananat names, who made them for their own pleasures based upon the Milsan tongue they now speak. 31. Every year it was a contest to see who could come up with the best experiment or new creation. This new creature which they made was displayed for others to examine. This was done by many Muthathalu extraterrestrials who would gather here on Taha, earth, at Mecca, the enclosed garden of pleasures and delight, Gan, Eden, where the tablets of destiny were kept, the Dayor Nawat Me stones, then the Akashic records. 32. The mother of all Safa'at books, which were on discs. 33. They could present on big screens with sound and lights like computers today, yet far more advanced technology. 34. These discs were kept inside the cube structure called today the Kaaba in Arabia's Mecca, which has the symbol on its outer corners of two stones. One is a blood red called the black stone and the other is brown. 35. The black stone is at the southeast corner. It's one babab, door. It's a meteorite. 36. The other stone in the corner facing the south, it's a common stone of Arabia, the Yemen. 37. It was at this building structure that Ningish Zida took Titi, Eve, to teach her that Enlil lied to her about the herbs, and there he taught her the art of the bloodstone. Dayor Nawat at read me discs of the Kama Sutra, art of sex and lust and use of drugs, the poppy plant. 38. So it was at Arabia where all the Muthathalu extraterrestrials would gather to display their creatures, such as the 3 shaggies, 1 black-furred, 1 red-furred, and 1 white-furred on display. Also the unicorns, the mermaids, the 6-fingered, 6-toed giants, the cyclops, the shapeshifters, the werewolf, the minotaurs, and the albino, and the Adamite. 39. All kinds of herbs and wu-nuwapu animals were on display. The very first freak show and the Adamite was on display as a new kind of Zazaz man who could be taught to speak, and as a hybrid could procreate, have Karadu, children, after his own kind. This first hybrid was Titi, or Eve, who was the first to speak, and she was able to present prior all experiments with creatures who could not procreate. 40. Some of the Anunnaki watched this new creature having all kinds of sexual acts and decided they would do as Enki and his sons Marduk and Dumuzi and Nabu have Janus sex with the Ashashu females. 41. They actually took Zazastatu women as wives of earthlings. 42. This was not legal for them as on the side of Enlil as Ikiki or the Igigi. 43. The cherubim were not to mix with Pa Muadamu Salal, the Adamite race, only be watched over them. 44. So they took the inner sight females, not Adamites, own daughters of Enos. 200 of them came down, fallen angel, Nephilim. 45. They took wives of all they chose, Genesis 6:2. The offspring turned out wicked and evil, human flesh eater, Raphaim, giants called Gabaru, Giborite, mighty ones. 46. They became Pa Muanagu, long necks of the Mufa'u, ones tall, wicked evil by mixing, and their Muldadu parents. 47. So the designer genes were for Project 24, or the 24 plus 24 equals 48 chromosome of the simian creatures, with 23 plus 23 equals 46 chromosomes of the humanoid creature, with the 23.5 plus 23.5 equals 47 chromosomes of the Anunnaki creature. 48. Then later, more crossbreeding were done for the next freak show, the mixing of Mahmat, Egypt, of this new humanoid man's kind with Kulabu, canines, Khuzar, porcine, Kuradu, simian or dogs, pigs, monkeys, and a new creature was made, a beast man. 49. It is not human, he is humanized, yet never can be civilized, a flesh eater, a drug taker, alcohol drinker, lives by danger, greed, lust, killing, the race of devils on the earth, man's kind, a kind of man-beast. 50. He mixed his Yakhasat genes with all others to spread his mental Maradh disease the world over. 51. Of the 24,000 genome, he only uses 6,000 Yakhasat human genes. The rest is Dabat Fatar, beast nature. 52. His mental age is only 13, so he called it the age of adulthood in their religion. Bar mitzvah, males. Bat mitzvah, female. 53. Later, the evil offspring of their religion from Torah laws to gospel laws changed it to 21 for the Ayashu males, 18 for females, a multi of 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 18. Yet their akal, minds, never go above age 13. To them, Heya, life, and Mawat, death, is a game of chance. 54. All of these crossbreedings resulted in viruses and the Marathat diseases. 55. They were given 6,000 years from 4000 BC to take control of the whole Mecca planet, rule the Yamam, sea, Patat, sky, and Sakar, land, and all the people of the other races. 56. Hamem Salal, the black race, Mungaru, Negroids, Afaf Reye Ka'au, Africans, the Samir Salal, brown race, Mudravdu, Indians, the yellow race, Mongalu, Asians, all by the year 2000 AD. They failed in all ways. 57. And now are being removed from Tapal Sakham, world power and wealth and rule. The rule or Tar Dor, dominion, is out of their reach as they fade from existence. Par Tapal, the world, looks on as they, in fright, seek others to back them and are rejected by all except those with much of their DNA ruling their genes by mixing. 58. Yet their own conception of God and religion is working against them now. Mosesism, Old Testament. Jesusism, New Testament. Mohammedism, Last Testament. 59. Has them all fighting and killing each other as the rest of the Tapal world. Hinduism, Buddhism, animism. 60. Stand off from afar and watch them destroy themselves. Revelation 9:11. Fallen is fallen. Their self-destruction. 61. Called in the Bible Apollyon, the Greek for New Testament, Revelation 9:11, and Abaddon, the Hebrew from the Old Testament for destruction. And it was Revelation 9:11, September 11, 2001 AD at 8:45 a.m. The Mohammedans of the Last Testament, Quran, attacked the Muqsasu, Christians, and Mujwa'u, Jewish, World Trade Center buildings, and the book of Revelation speaks about that Last Testament. 62. The book of Revelation speaks about that Last Testament. The Quran, the little book, only was 114 chapters compared to the Old and New Testament, 63. It is little and brings on the 7 thunders. 64. It's according to their own Safaf books, their final hour or 60 years, 2.5 hours, 30 years from 1970 AD to 2000 AD, and 30 years from 2000 AD to 2030 AD, or to the 60 years, the 1 hour, Revelation 18:1, half hour, 30 years, Revelation 9:15, Revelation 18:10-19, 65. All this has begun by Muthathalu, extraterrestrials, coming down to this Mecca planet, which many have been doing for many millions of years as a vacation resort. 66. Many from many other star systems, bringing with them things from their own Tapalat worlds. Some transplanted here on Taha, Earth. Some creatures also here were placed in the Mayat waters or on land. Bara'at, foods. They prepare to Baru, eat. And Pa Muthadna'u, the reptilians who ate and still eat humans as bara, meat, food. Under that word in Bible covenant of flesh, offerings, sacrifice as abductions, missing persons by the thousands each month. Tapal, world over. Also, the Mukhmahu, Pleiadians, also are cannibals, as well as the Pa Mudbaru, Aldebarans, who made deals with the Nazi up to 1945 AD with USA, when the Nazi defected to America under what was called Project Paperclip. 67. They put USA in contact with Mudbaru, Aldebarans, who work with Mukhma'u, Pleiadians, and Mutnana'u, reptilians. This all ended for the cursed seed of Canaan, the Amorites, for their abuse of the Pata'ite race of Nagaru or Mungaru, Genesis 15, 13-16. Amorite of Canaan, Genesis 9:25. The curse of leprosy, Leviticus 13, 1-59. Who mixed with the others to make hybrid mulattoes, the new race of neutrinoids, an attempt to prolong their Salal race. 68. The Canaanites have tried to prolong their stay as a Sanafu species on Earth many times before, yet they found out mixing with the Mudradu Indians did not work. Mixing with the Mungalu Asians did not work. Mixing with the Mungaru Africans did not work. 69. So they now plan to mix with subspecies of races they've mixed with before. Celtic, Celtic, Celtic took over the Spaniards. They became two groups of Mujwa'u Jews today. Jewishism is not a race, it's a religion. 70. You look at the state of Israel today, you see red-skinned and the white-skinned. The red-skinned ones are called Ashkenazim, Adamites. The red-skinned, ruddy, Morkhanu, Canaanites, white-skinned, albino, pale white lepers. Those are Genesis 1, 26-27, ruddy, reddish. Those are Genesis 6, 1-5. Mixed can be both. Those are Genesis 9, 25. Leper, white. These are the seeds of Parasamur Yakhasat, the designer genes, made for show to other Muthathalu, extraterrestrials, and as slave workers for entertainment, sexual pleasures, warriors, protector, pets, and even bara, food. 71. The seed of Adamites and those who join onto Tanan, Leviathan, Lawi Tanan, join onto the Dragonians, his laws and way of living, religions, Hazabat, cultures in the image of the beast. 72. So when you see one of your own race who seems to live for masak, music, for rakus, dance, for acting, for sports, for janus, sex, for fanam, art, or for service of any kind, they need to be uniformed. The love of Yamam, sea, the love of Hawaii, air, flying, boating, fishing, hunting, killing, and so much more. 73. They seem to you to be strange. Why they devote their lives? Some make it, most don't, and you think a waste of time. 74. Munwapu, Nuwapians, know this. Hakak at actual fact. Most have no choice. It was programmed in the designer gene of the Adam Salal, Adamite race, who mixed their Yakhasat genes with all others. 75. In the West, it's clear that Mungaru Negroids try to act like or be in the Shabbat image of their slave masters or his religions, be it as a Muksasu Christian or as Muslim, Moorish, their own form of Islamism, to worship the image of other than their own race as their Gadad, God, Prophet, Savior, Christ, Mahdi. Worship the image of Pa-Adam Salal, the Adamite race. Be they reddish or pale white, it's all Yakhasat, the genes. 76. And is Hajar Shalel Takul, the spell of ignorance. Who and what you really are. Some think if I please them, I will be accepted by them. Not true. If I act like or perform for them, they will share their wealth with me, make me rich, a star, pay me well, live among them. Not true. If I support their way of life, speak as they, Natuk, speak on their behalf, they will accept me. If I Zawar, marry one of them, I'm accepted. 77. All these are wrong. It's not in their unnatural fatar nature to mix damam, blood, with strong Yakhasat genes. They are regressive. Yakhasat genes, weak and will fade away. 78. They must mix in with darker races within every 400 years or their race will die out. Being a hybrid Salal race, now they plan to mix in with Latinos, Hispanic Salal race. As you see, they will take over that race again as in the past. 79. So As I've been saying, giving them back all that they have imposed on you, their clothes, their cinemas, their barar food, their lack of hazab culture, their image. Give them back all their stuff. 80. They are not you, you are not them. Give them back their soulless lahej language with an empty tone. You have your own nuwapu. Nuwapic. 81. Give them back their debased ways and lack of morals. You have your own way of life. Wu-nuwapu. You must remember and be who you are, not what you have become. Sawab kawun sawab. Truth is truth.